Hey guys, welcome to another video from the Parrott Bros. Now, as you guessed it, we are doing a feature car today. Now, today's car is Paul's. I'll let him introduce it.
It's Paul's special TT.
So yeah, this has come all the way from Hastings via Chesterfield.
Chesterfield, yeah.
Yep, so you've done a good few hundred miles already today.
Yes, yeah.
Before featuring it. Now, I've been trying to get this car on the channel for a long time, and it's always been, I've just got to do this, or we're doing this, or whatever. And
it's in bits.
Yeah, and before any other YouTubers snapped it up, it came here. But I guess before we talk about it, because everyone's going to know what's going on in here, as well as in there, let's jump to the intro. So we're here with Paul in his absolute beauty of a Mark 1 TT. Thanks for coming today, Paul.
No worries, mate, pleasure.
So we'll start from the very beginning. How long have you had the car?
Since 2010.
Wow, so 12 years. That is one of the longest ownerships, apart from people who bought them new. Why a TT?
I had a E46 M3.
Yeah, lovely car.
Yeah, beautiful car, stunning car. But after 3 years of ownership, I decided that, you know, something a little bit more practical, and people will laugh when they say TT is practical.
I was just about to say, well, it's not for the back. It's not for the back seats, that's for sure.
Compared to an E46 M3, yeah, it is a practical car, and it's a daily. I drive it every day, and I did struggle in poor conditions with the M3. It was just impractical, and this is
a good all-rounder. I mean, you've got the winter obviously mode, and you know what I mean. So you know you're right in the winter, but it is. I don't think. Did you set out to get a TT, or did you look at other stuff?
I'll be honest. It was just, I just fell into it, I suppose. I wanted something with a bit of go. Obviously, I didn't expect to replace the BM with like for like. So just something with a bit of style and a bit of grace. And yeah, I just fell into the TT.
And what I love about this is, so you've gone for the Quattro Sport. Now, it's not straight obvious because it's black, so you don't have that contrast between the roof and the rest of the car. So I call it the stealth edition because it is a little bit stealthy. It doesn't stand out like red with a black roof. So you've taken arguably the most expensive TT and then moulded it into what it is today.
Yeah, ripped it to bits and put it back together. Sacrilege to some, but yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. But it's like I said, to be fair, I don't think anyone could argue with the fact that you've owned this for 12 years. You know what I mean? You're entitled to do what you want. You're flying the flag. Yeah. People see it driving around and think, oh, that's nice. And that might inspire someone to buy one. Yeah. So
I ran it stock for 2 years.
That was literally my next question, was like, so where did the power gains start?
Well, literally, it was my son can take some of the blame. When he was about 9 years old, because in the M3 we used to go through underground car parks and set off car alarms.
Yeah, yeah.
If it was a rainy day. And obviously we tried it with this when it was stock, and it didn't work. But
yeah.
When we got home, he said, if the TT went and sounded like the M3, you're a winner. And I just thought,
straight onto Google.
I was toying with the idea of getting a Porsche, and then I thought, well, I could spend a fraction of the money that I would spend on a Porsche and spend it on this. So I've spent a lot.
Oh yeah, we won't discuss figures. Based on what you've done, I'm sure it's
still been a money saver.
Of course, but so what did it start with? Did you go just for a map and a few little bits, or?
I went to Milton Keynes. Vagtech in Milton Keynes, I think it was, and they did a map and put the exhaust on, put a panel filter in. So I suppose it went from 240 to around 265, 270.
And it sounded faster.
It sounded better, yeah, and it definitely went better. Yeah, that
it gave you the taste of it then, didn't
it?
Well,
no, that lasted for another year or two, and then I thought, no, yeah, in for a penny, in for a pound. Certain bits of the car were starting to flag anyway. It needed a complete refresh, so I did some research. Big thanks to JBS. I spoke to loads of other people, but JBS kind of
the one that suited you.
They're the ones that suited me, and they basically took my remit, which was a car that can be started up in my neighbourhood outside my house. You know, nothing too leery, but when I want it to go, it looks and sounds
Yeah, upset a
off-piste.
few people.
Upset a few people. Yeah, I wouldn't call it stealth because obviously
Yeah, of course.
it's a fairly quick car anyway. But yeah,
Well, it's definitely a wolf in sheep's clothing because it's not. It doesn't. You don't look at it and think. So what's the rough power figure now? Was it last dyno that?
It's 400. I've got the sheets with me, but it's 475 brake. And
You don't look at this and think, yeah, that's 475 brake, do you?
450 pounds of torque.
Wow, that's some big figures for a small car.
Yeah, all usable though.
Oh, I don't doubt that for a second because you said before it can go more.
Yeah. No, I didn't want to go over 5. I didn't want to. I mean, as it is, I'm having the gearboxes going up to Martin at Gas and Gears as soon as I come back from holiday.
Because this is on a stock box, right?
Stock box. It was 100,000 miles, and it's whining like a spoiled child.
The proof is there. You can have a over 400 horsepower, but on a stock gearbox.
Yeah,
I'm guessing not a stock clutch.
No, it's a 6-pedal competition clutch. So yeah,
it is wicked. I mean, just looking around, I'm guessing you've just done bits as you've gone. I mean,
a lot of it I've fallen into. You see other people and what they've done, but the colour scheme was. I mean, once it was black, but I went with black and red. The car was actually wrapped at one stage with a white wrap with a black roof. And yeah, it was nice, but I always thought it looked a bit girly. And I think the moment I went back to black,
I was about to say everything's black, isn't it? With just very few touches of red.
Yeah, and it is just a little bit more because they are pretty cars. They're lovely cars. They're all,
for sure.
But I think black is the one that gives it a little bit more of an edge when it's all black. And I just took the red trim and ran with the red trim.
I mean, so the seats now. You said this come with the comfort for anyone that thought he took poles out. He didn't.
No, it had comfort seats, so I didn't have any option on there. And I put these in. I was literally gonna, it was a stopgap, but they're not wearing, and they're half decent bucket seats, but they have got a heated seat option. So I haven't had it done, but the wiring is all in place. They've got pads in as well. So if I wanted to, have heated bucket seats, which are a rarity, and this company literally are 5 minutes from where I work.
Oh wow!
Corbu are literally
that's wicked.
On the same industrial estate.
And I mean, these seats. You said you've had these seats in. Was it 5 years?
5 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, they look great still.
Yeah. No, they're in good.
They look comfy, and what I like about them is they sit quite low.
No,
because you struggle. I've seen people put buckets in and they sit quite high, and I mean they actually touch the roof in some cases.
These are base mounted.
Yeah, you can see they're literally.
So they are literally sitting on the floor.
Yeah, which is perfect because you want to be low.
Yeah.
That's kind of the benefit of it. I mean, some of the other stuff you've got, for those who don't know, I mean, if you point at the window, we've got the
HPA controller.
HPA controller, which allows you to completely change how the power's put down to the wheels, isn't it?
There's 6 or 7 settings on it. I haven't used them all, but it's you can toggle off braking. You've got a performance suite on there, but I tend to drive it in dynamic. So under 40% of the throttle, it's completely stock, and then it
livens up somewhat. And you've got your CAE shifter. Now this, I like the way you've done the gear selector around it to keep it sort of OEM looking.
Yeah,
looks really nice. That
blood, sweat, and tears.
I can 100% agree.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
100%. I like the floor mats as well. I know they're not for everyone, but the carpet on these literally absorb dirt.
Yeah, but they're fully encompassed, so any crap that falls in there, it just stays on the mat.
Take it out and chuck it out.
I mean, I could run with mats, but like you say, all the grime it falls off the mat into the carpet, and I whip these out. To be honest, I can't recommend them enough.
I think they're brilliant, and they're from
Diamond Car Mats.
Diamond Car Mats. There we go. So I guess one more question, which I know people are going to ask before we go out for a drive, is what is it like to have as a daily? Because I know some people think that big power, highly strung, and all this kind of stuff.
I mean, it's off boost. It's completely stock. It's not been stroked. It's 1.8.
Oh wow!
It's not been stroked, so it drives, and the turbo, the G25 550 is quite streetish. It's not a track turbo. It's
not massively laggy.
It spools up early, and it probably runs out of puff around 6. 6.5. So that's really fast road and town. But as I say, around town, it's just stock.
I bet you surprised a few people when you take them out as a passenger for the first time, didn't you?
Well, we'll find out.
I walked into that one. Right, I guess we should hit the road. Left. You go left. Sorry, I forget I'm directing you. Too busy taking it all in. I mean, as a rule, it feels, apart from being a little bit firm because you can feel everything's really tight, it doesn't feel any different to mine. One of them, and typically it starts raining as soon as we start driving. Luckily we got to do the talk without getting wet first. It's quite quiet, isn't it?
It's you can hear a little bit of whine.
I was going to say you can hear a little bit of whine, yeah.
But
you'll still have that afterwards if you have a diff or some hard cut.
Yeah, no, I will do, but it's different. Yeah. At least I know
that's a bad one.
Yeah, that's a bad one. Yeah. But like I say, around town, as we mentioned earlier, it's quiet.
Yeah, it's firm, but it's not uncomfortable to drive.
No,
it's actually not bad at all. It's not loud. It's not particularly bumpy. I mean, you can see from the video we're not giving it all of that, you know.
No, it doesn't jar you.
You've certainly refined it, I think is the best way of putting it, isn't it? It's been refined. Is there anything, other than the gearbox, which is more preventative than anything, is there anything you actually plan to do going forward, or is it literally now just perpetual and enjoy it?
The way everything now is moving the furniture around, isn't it? It's like tick bits, but
the bulk of the build is done.
The bulk of the build is done. Possibly look at maybe some sort of rev limiter, because in the lower gears you're just boosting so quick that, you know, I don't want to damage the engine by over rev, so that's something I might look at putting in some sort of rev limit. But, other than that,
it's sort of it's foolproof in the build, isn't it? Then because
well, yeah, I mean the guys that built it is a fully built engine. It's 3 pages of parts that, you know, I don't know the whys and wherefores.
Yeah, of course.
I know that once they put it together, it works.
And you just kind of said to them, look, I want this to be built and be built right.
I mean, it's run, as you say, it's a daily. It's run 5,000 miles, and it starts every time cold start.
Yeah.
Not a problem at all. So it's done 5,000 miles round town and on some faster roads.
No track days.
No, never going to.
I don't blame you, to be honest. I mean, the problem is when you know what you invest in something like this. Plus, it looks nice. Admittedly, a little bit dusty because obviously you've done quite a few miles in the typical British summer.
400-mile round trip, but it's
a pretty car. And to go on track days, the stone chips, and if you put it in the gravel.
I haven't got the talent to. I'd run out of talent before I ran out of anything else. I know my limitations.
It's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, I'll drive somebody else's car on a track, but not this one.
Yeah, I mean, you would not know that this was 475 brake just by going in it. I mean, there's a few giveaways like the shift tower but there's nothing. I mean, you haven't got any big gauges.
Well, only the gauge.
Yeah, of course, in the middle, but there's no pod pillar gauges and no big offensive boost gauges and whatever.
I've tried not to. You know, everyone's got their different tastes, haven't they? But I've just stuck with, you know, what I think suits the car.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't taken away from that real nice original styling, which everyone sort of jumped on the bandwagon for.
Yeah. No, if anything, maybe try and accentuate it a little bit, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but you've got some personal touches, haven't you?
I'm not a designer, but it's my car, and therefore
you like it,
I can do what I want with my car, and exactly. I wouldn't tell anyone else what not to do with theirs. So, but yeah, it works for me.
I love it. Typical, isn't it? It pulls really smooth up the range, doesn't it?
Yeah. Jump to gear. Jump to gear.
So smooth, isn't it? So smooth. I can't go over how smooth it is. It pincher, there's no doubt about that. But it's just so smooth through the gears. Unfortunately, it's mildly moist today.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to wrap it up.
No, it's a bit of an understatement, but I appreciate you bringing it down to show me, mate.
I would have done it a long time ago, but we just couldn't, you know.
Well, yeah, it's always
and it was off the road. It was off the road, having all that other work done, and
exactly.
I'm sure there'll be.
We'll definitely have to get you back once you've had the gearbox done.
The gearbox gearboxes.
Or pencil in a dry day.
Because, yeah, oh Christ, yeah. But you can see what I mean about the rev limiter as well, though, because
yeah,
you're just
well, you just see the needle just flick. It's like, whoa, quick.
But yeah, and if you don't catch it, then you're over revving the engine. Easily done as well. Like. Yeah, and I don't want to do that.
Of course you don't. Because I mean, even things like missing a gear is enough. You can over rev it, so it's just like.
Yeah.
And I mean, while these gear shifters are good, sometimes you can either miss the gear or miss the gate.
I went from 2nd to 5th.
Yeah, go too high.
Yeah, but that's unusual for me, but I did do it.
But it's easily done. I mean, you turn a camera on.
Yeah.
If it could go wrong, it will go wrong.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah. But straight on.
Yeah, yes, right at the lights. But yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a build, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see that you're using it daily and it's usable daily.
I've got to drive back to Hastings, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But it's usable. You're enjoying it. There's no reason why you couldn't build an absolute monster for daily use. Yeah, it'll use more fuel, but I bet even on cruise at 70, it's still not bad, is it?
No. Well, I have all I've done. I filled up in Hastings and I've put in 4 litres out of a can.
Yeah.
So I've been to Chesterfield and back, and I've still got a quarter of a tank.
That's mental. Absolutely mental. Because I mean, you have obviously big turbo cars. And if you're going to take this round track and give it a pasting, it's going to cane a load of fuel. But then what isn't? You know what I mean? There's no difference there. And I mean, there's not many people that, apart from like Jermaine, I think he dailies his. As far as I'm aware, there isn't many people that daily big power cars. It's mainly It's mainly people like, say, Paul Han. His is like 500-600 brake. Nick Prawns again, 500 or 600 brake. But track cars, and they might do a small amount of road testing. But there's not. It's not a daily car. I mean, you take this to work, to the shop, whatever you're doing, you're doing it in this.
Morrison's in it.
Yeah. And I mean, apart from, if you don't know cars, you'll look at this and think maybe it's a little bit boy race. You get your tints and your black wheels and black lights and whatever. But it's not massive big spoiler.
No.
Wide arch.
No.
And I mean,
in essence, it still looks like a TT.
I'm trying to think what's 475 brake. I mean, even new M3s aren't 475 brakes. So it's
with the original R8 was only 400.
Exactly. So
mid-range Porsches.
It's funny.
What's the new Mark III TT RS?
Oh, I know the pre-new one is 360. I'm not sure what the new one is. So I'm pretty sure they're not 400. So I mean, yeah, hell of a build on. I'm speechless, to be honest. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be this casual. It's probably the best way of putting it. It's just.
Oh, it's completely normal round town.
Especially because I've driven my blue one. Is fully polybursed, hard suspension and shift tower, and it doesn't feel any different. Apart from when you put your foot down, it's a hell of a lot different to when I put my foot down. Because I'm like, come on.
Well, we had a little bit of that today.
We had a little bit of that. Yeah. Half wet and half.
When it's
straight on,
when the box is done, and it's all behaving normally, I'm more than happy if you take it for a spin.
Yes, mate. Yeah, I like this. Cool. So, mate, thanks for taking me for a drive. Sorry, obviously, everyone, we couldn't do too much because it was ridiculously wet and traffic was bad. I mean, we picked a bad time, but we're trying to tie in with when I'm free and when Paul was coming back through from Chesterfield. So
yeah, just about. It
made sense to squeeze it in and to show you the car, because I mean, I've been desperate to get this on the channel and just show you that although a big build obviously is very expensive, it's not out of reach. If you want to do it and you want to do it for the future, I mean, you love it, don't you? You wouldn't change a thing.
No, I wouldn't change a thing. No.
And I mean, this car isn't going anywhere, so I mean, Paul's keeping this for the long run. So you can quite easily build one of these daily. Yeah, there's going to be some expense, and I'm sure there'll be some fault finding at the beginning until it's done, but well worth it. I mean, do you want to give another shout out to the guys that built it?
JBS Chesterfield have been absolutely brilliant. Everyone who looks after the car, RDS, the guy who does the ceramic coating, everyone. Yeah, just it's all part of the package, isn't it? You know, I paid people to do a lot of the work. I've done a lot of the interior, but
yeah, but I mean that's
the experts have done the stuff that's
and that's probably the best way to look at it, because at the end of the day, if you can't do it 100%,
no,
you're better off doing what you're good at to then pay to get someone to do it properly.
Yeah.
And you can tell, because it drives lovely. It drives like a Quattro Sport. You know what I mean? It drives. It's precise. It's comfortable. And then when you want to go,
it goes.
It goes. There's no doubt about that. But Paul, pleasure, mate.
Pleasure. We'll do it again.
And everyone, we'll catch you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.